In this video, we're going to look at how we can divide mixed numbers. To do that, we're going to learn how you can turn a mixed number into an improper fraction, use an algorithm to divide mixed numbers, and identify the dividend and divisor in a word problem. We're going to do 2 examples as mini lessons. There's going to be a you-do, and then there are going to be 3, I believe, suggested practice problems at the very end. So, our first mini lesson is just how do we turn a mixed number into an improper fraction? There are a couple ways to do this, but one of the best methods for doing so is called the bottom body top method. That's a little bit too thick. Let's make that thinner. So the bottom body top method. We are going to basically say that the body is the whole number. So in this case, it's a 3. The bottom is our denominator, which is a 5. And our top is our numerator, which is a 2. So you're going to take the body and the bottom, the whole number and the denominator, and just multiply them together. 3 times 5 is, of course, 15. You're then going to take the top number, our numerator, and you're going to add it to 15. So we get a 17. And then we just rewrite our fraction. So we have 17 over 5, 17 fifths. This makes sense if you think about it, because if we were to think about, well, how many times does 5 go into 17? Well, it's going to go in 3 times, which would be 15, and then there would be 2 left over. So we end up back with our mixed number. You can actually use this both directions if you want, and in some word problems, it might be more useful to have a mixed number as your solution. So, bottom, body, top, turning mixed numbers into improper fractions. Now, an improper fraction, which is this thing over here, there we go. Super good circling job there. Our improper fraction doesn't mean that it's like bad or impolite or anything. No, it just means that the numerator is bigger than our denominator. That's all that improper means in a math context. So with that, we'll look at our next example problem. So in this problem, we have a jeweler who has a 5.5-inch strip of silver wire that she's going to cut into 1 3/8 inches pieces. So we're going to figure out how many pieces she can make. Since we're breaking a larger number into groups, or we're breaking a number into some groups, we know that we're going to have to use division. And because we've been just talking about turning mixed numbers into improper fractions, we're going to start there. So we have 5.5. If we take our bottom and body, multiply them together, we get a 10. Add the 1 from the top, and we'll get 11 halves. If we do the same thing for the 1 3/8, we do 1 times 8, which would be 8, plus the 3, which is again going to be 11, but this time our denominator is 8. So, next we need to think about what is our dividend, what is our divisor. In our previous videos, we've talked about how the dividend is always going to be the initial amount. Well, we know that the jeweler has an initial amount here of silver wire. So this 5.5, or 11 halves, needs to be our dividend. We also know that each piece needs to be 1 3/8. So that's telling us how much needs to be in each group. That means that that is our divisor. We're going to make that 11/8. And we already talked about how we're breaking this up, so we're going to make this division. Plus, if you think about our gel, we were doing division, so that kind of makes sense. Then we're just going to do the same thing that we always do. We're going to use the KFC method again. If you haven't looked at what that KFC method is, please check one of the previous videos. It's in there. Seems that we've been doing this for the last 3 videos as well. So we are going to keep our first fraction, our dividend. That does not change. We have to find the reciprocal of our divisor, and we're going to change our operation to multiplication. Finally, we just need to multiply straight across. We have 88, since 8 times 11 is 88. 11 times 2 is 22. And we can actually simplify this. 11 will go into both of these values. And you might actually notice that we have 11 here and here. If you've got them in opposite spots, they will actually just become 1, which doesn't, of course, affect anything in your equation. Some people call that canceling out. Some people call it cross-canceling. It depends on how you prefer to refer to it as. So we can simplify this just down to 8 halves, which again we can simplify into just 4. 8 divided by 2 is just 4. Now, of course, since this is a word problem, we need to make sure that we include our units. So we're going to say that this is, rather than just 4, we have 4 pieces of silver wire. So next, you're going to try a you-do. This time we have 5 3/4 divided by 5/6. Try it on a separate piece of paper, see what you can do. Use the video if you need to go back and refer to it. Ready to go. Things to remember about dividing with mixed numbers. Use the bottom body top method to help you turn a mixed number into an improper fraction. You can also use the same idea to go from an improper fraction into a mixed number. It's just telling you how many holes you have in that improper fraction. Use the KFC method, again, to divide your fractions, just like we've been doing in the other two videos, in 1.4 and 1.5. And then finally, don't forget your units, and don't forget to simplify. Those are always super, super important things. Yeah. Finally, here are some suggested practice problems. There are 2 problems that involve just division sentences. One of them has just 1 mixed number, the other one has 2 mixed numbers. And then there's also a word problem. Think about what is your dividend, what is your divisor. Think about how you can change your mixed number into an improper fraction. Good luck.